Hi, everybody. Jack O'Malley coming to you from the road. We were in session this week. I had a late night session. Let me see if I can find a good spot for this. We were in session late into the wee hours this morning as we are in lame duck trying to get things taken care of. A couple things I want to hit on you today. One, of course, this afternoon, the governor has eased some of her restrictions, her pause for some businesses, but bars and restaurants remain locked down. And again, makes no real sense. We've talked about it forever, and I'll continue to talk about it. But again, no logic. There's so many other ways we could have gone about this, but the governor continues to stay the course in her odd thinking. She talks about science and data, but yet she really provides none and no metrics. There's no reason why a restaurant should remain closed when they are following all the procedures and all the recommendations, but yet another business is now allowed to be reopened. It makes no sense other than a mask covering. It's illogical. It's wrong. I'm not talking about no restrictions for anybody out there thinking the governor is keeping you safe and doing everything right. I'm not saying that we don't have some restrictions and guidelines. It's just crazy. Couple of things that happened I want to inform you about. Probably will mean nothing, but there is an attempt. If you remember, I talked about a bill that I had introduced that said this new rule would say that the Department of Health and Human Services, when dealing with some type of epidemic like this, could only institute rules for 28 days. After that, they would have to come to the legislature for re-upping and or approval to mirror our emergency management 1976 law. I introduced that legislation. There was legislation just like it in the Senate. Senator Theis got hers through the finish line before mine. Last night we passed it out of the House. Now, so it's headed to the governor for signature. Snowball's chance in Hades that it makes it, but we put it there. Interesting. When we passed that through, strictly party lines. No Democrats signed on with that. Why would we not do that? But no Democrats signed on. Another bill that we passed through yesterday to honor and respect all the good people of Michigan that worked hard in record time to get 500,000 signatures to put a proposal on the ballot, only to find that our Secretary of State is dragging her feet to certify those signatures. We introduced legislation in the Senate, came through to the House, that said we want to repeal, which has been done many a time on many a law. We want to repeal that law. Once again, it has to go to the governor for signature, so snowball's chance in Hades that it makes it through, but we did it. Interestingly enough, only two Democrats signed on to that. All the rest said no. And Representative Aaron Miller from a floor speech made so much sense with this. There was a floor speech against it. Oh, we can't restrict the governor's power, blah, 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 blah. Aaron Miller said, think about it this way. We're here to revoke this bill tonight. What if we were doing just the opposite and that we were here to create this law that says the governor or the chief executive has all this power? We would be screaming and hollering. It would never happen. But yet here we are tonight screaming and hollering that you can't take that kind of power away from a chief executive. Makes no sense. So we'll see if it passes. The governor signs it. I'd probably pass out if she did. But I wanted you to know about that. But something else I wanted to touch base on that I think is important. It appeared in an article in Bridge Magazine on Wednesday. Now, let me start by saying Bridge Magazine is not a far-right magazine. It leans a little bit to the left. Point being is, this article, the headline said, is the governor playing chicken with the Upper Peninsula and heat? She says she is revoking the easement or the lease with Enbridge for Line 5 on under the Straits of Mackinac. And there's some legal question if she can do that or not. But the point is, she has absolutely no plan on how to heat the Upper Peninsula. Think about this. Here we are a few days from Christmas, and the governor is basically saying to the Upper Peninsula, We don't worry about your heat, because opponents of Line 5 can argue a lot of things. Most of it's hooey, but they can argue a lot of things. One of which, though, is fact, is Michigan leads the nation in its use of propane. The Upper Peninsula specifically uses propane with heat. So many rural homes and whatnot, this is a way to do it. 90% of the state's propane goes through Line 5. You take away Line 5, you take away the heat from the Upper Peninsula and much of northern lower. The other thing is, for you people in Detroit who might watching this saying, well, what do I care? I don't live in the UP. Think of it this way. The oil that goes through that pipeline also goes to refineries in Toledo that comes back to Detroit Metropolitan Airport. It's a little bitty airport just, south of Detroit. Detroit Metro. That's where the jet fuel A comes from. Line 5. Oh, yeah, Line 5 shut her down. The governor will say, well, we can get that propane and that oil other ways to transport it. Okay, it's estimated at 250 trucks a day would have to transport. That's if you can find the trucks to do it that are taking it away from other areas. We're already short of truck drivers, like by 80,000 or whatever it is here in the state of Michigan. Anyway, stupid. Put it on rail cars, tankers in the Great Lakes. The governor, days before Christmas, in Bridge Magazine, thank you for bringing light to this. The governor is saying, you know what? It doesn't matter. Heat. We don't care. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. She has no plan. I don't know if it's a political stunt. Probably is. But I was ironically chatting with a gentleman from Mackinac County. And I brought this up. And his comment was, I don't get it. Doesn't she like us up here? Apparently not. Or she's more interested in her environmental interests and supporters than anything. The point is, if you shut down Line 5, there is a major problem of keeping heat on in the Upper Peninsula and homes in northern lower Michigan as well. And we're heading into winter. Now, granted, this is going to get shut down in the spring, but we're talking about next year. You want 250 trucks on the Mackinac Bridge? You want rail cars hauling oil? Do you want tankers hauling oil? The thing is, the pipeline, if you want to move it, that's fine. Then let them build the tunnel. People are opposed to that too. Talk about a compromise. Put the tunnel or put the pipeline and other utilities in a tunnel that you can get eyeball inspection on. That's one of the big squawks about the pipeline. Oh my goodness, something happened and we couldn't get down and look at it. But in a tunnel, you got a question, you walk out and you take a look. It's common sense, and our governor is in short supply. So when you hear about Line 5 and you hear about the governor wanting to remove that easement, and you think, well, what the heck? Realize that the people in the Upper Peninsula are going to see their propane costs go through the roof. And we've seen it a few years ago when the polar vortex hit, and they did have a problem, weather-related, at the station where they make the propane up there that created skyrocketing. And people are going to freeze. They need it. I heard a story, again, talking about this with some folks that way. During that freeze, during the polar vortex, and propane was in shortage, stories of people busting up their furniture and building fires to stay warm. I remember the quote. The quote rings in my ears. What? Doesn't she like us up here? Apparently not. So as we move forward and we head into Christmas, and we head into the winter, I'm sitting here in my car on my way home. I see snow all around me. Temperatures are 31 degrees right now, and it's daylight. And the governor is talking about shutting off heat to the Upper Peninsula. That's what it boils down to. You shut down Line 5 without any real plan, and we're in trouble. When the pipeline, just do it, just build it. So, it's kind of the Gretsch that stole Christmas I know it's used it before, but I'll use it here. Bridge Magazine, thank you for that article. Google it, folks. The governor playing chicken with Upper Peninsula heat. It's unbelievable that she's doing this. So think about that when our governor talks about wanting to save lives and do this and do that. Okay, I'm sure she does. But what about the lives when people turn into popsicles in the Upper Peninsula? Something to think about as we move forward. I put it on your radar for that simple purpose. What's the matter? Doesn't she like us up here? It's a good question that I don't personally have the answer to right now. So I leave you with that on this Friday. I'll keep it short. I'm on the road and I want to get home. So thank you very much. I'll keep you informed. We'll keep chucking. But when you hear Line 5, don't just think about, oh, it's a pipeline, it's this and that. It's so much more. It's heat to the Upper Peninsula. Have a good evening, everybody.